If you love $9 Monday and $2 Tuesday, you're really going to appreciate our new Throwback Thursday when all daily packages are slashed in half. Yes, you heard right at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. All Thursday daily packages are now 50% off. This means that a 4% package will be only $12.50. A 5% top-rated play, normally priced at $35, will be only $17.50. And the hottest sales item of the day, get a full day of access from the handicappers of your choice. That's one day of every applicable play they release, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $39 for only $19.50. The best part is you can come back every Thursday to take advantage of this limited time 50% off spring offer.
We are live because it is Wednesday, March the 29th, and this is Wager Talk Today, live every weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, here on Wager Talk TV, and archived 24/7 for your viewing pleasure. I am Steve Merrill. I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez. I had a great line, Teddy, and I fluttered it. I was going to say, I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez. He'll be back next month, but don't get too excited, Teddy Covers, because that's also next week. April 1st is right around the corner. No fooling, though. This is Wager Talk Today, and we got a great show Wednesday, Teddy. Baseball starts tomorrow. I'm excited. We've had a lot of baseball talk the last day or so on the show. We've got more today. MLB first pitch will be on at 2 o'clock Eastern today with more MLB futures talk. If you missed yesterday's show, I was on with Tony Finn, Drew Martin, and we talked a lot about futures there as well. So check that out on the replay. Teddy, who do we have on for Wednesday?
We're going to start with Jimmy Adams today. He's going to talk a little Final Four matchup, San Diego State against Florida Atlantic. He's also going to talk a little MLB, the San Francisco Giants over under 81.5 wins. Of course, Jimmy, top 5 MLB capper last year. He's 61% over his last 64 5% plays. Tony Finn's going to join us next. Timberwolves and the Suns in the NBA tonight. He's got an opinion on that total. And he's going to talk some MLB opening day baseball, the Phillies at the Rangers, DeGrom and Nola. My big game breakdown, I'm going to talk about the LA Dodgers season win total. And then Bryan Leonard's going to close out the show with a pair in the NBA tonight. Bryan's got a 13-0 run going across all sports. He's got a big 5% tonight in NHL. He's going to talk NBA with us, Milwaukee and Atlanta and Indiana, the LA Lakers and the Chicago Bulls. So we do have a loaded Wednesday show. NBA, college basketball, MLB, all on center stage. Steve?
Yeah, it's not just a loaded show, it's a loaded network today because don't forget the NBA show also on at 4:15 Eastern. Teddy Covers will be on with Ski Profit and Jay Money there. I mentioned that baseball show yesterday, myself and Tony Finn, but Eric Pauly from SportsMemo.com was also on the show yesterday. Jimmy Adams and Bryan Leonard will both be on today with Adam Trigger, and we've got them both on right now on this show as well. Let's start with Jimmy Adams. And Jimmy, welcome to the show. It is a busy week, to say the least. We've got, obviously, baseball starting tomorrow. NIT Final Four was last night. Finals tomorrow. We've got the NCAA Final Four this Saturday. Baseball and hockey every day. But I want to talk a little bit about the Final Four before we get back to baseball. Huge matchups this Saturday.
Sure.
What are you looking at in the San Diego State Florida Atlantic team? Obviously, a game, 2 teams, obviously, that were not expected to be here. One of them for sure will be in the finals when it's all said and done on Monday. Which one do you think it'll be?
Yeah, so look, San Diego State finally brought some pride to a Mountain West conference that hadn't been able to win a game, in prior years, right? We all know that. But I think the argument for FAU is going to be very similar to the one we saw when San Diego State played Bama, like that the Owls play elite defense, but they've got the better offense. But we saw how that turned out versus Bama, and I don't think it's going to be that different. As the Aztecs have now covered 6 straight games, holding their opponents in the 50s in 4 of their past 5. The exception to that was the 64 that Bama put up in a losing effort. So San Diego State follows up their effort by Bama by playing a Creighton team that's also very good on offense, right? Well, the result, 11.8% from 3, 40% from the field. These teams that are normally good from outside, they're just not used to dealing with the kind of ball pressure that San Diego State throws at you. And good luck getting anything going on the inside against Nathan Mensah. I know FAU's got that big guy down low. But Mensah just won Defensive Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference for the second consecutive season. Does a great job of defending without fouling. And look, without the Owls getting easy looks, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to win this game. And San Diego State's shown the ability to score on even the best defenses. Alabama was third in adjusted defensive efficiency. Creighton was a top 15 defensive efficiency team. This is going to be a slow-paced, grinded-out type game, and I think it's one that the Aztecs are more equipped to win. I'm going to be playing San Diego State on the money line, Steve and Teddy.
So Conference USA is having a pretty remarkable postseason. Charlotte wins the CBI. UAB and North Texas are meeting in the finals of the NIT. And Florida Atlantic, a team that had never won an NCAA tournament game, is now in the Final Four. Every time I've stepped in front of anyone from this conference this postseason, I've lost. Similar story for anyone else that stepped in front of anyone in CUSA this postseason. It's been a disaster for anyone that's tried to fade this conference. Why is this game different? And why is CUSA now the overvalued commodity? You, a Mountain West guy. What do we? I mean, can we step in front of this conference? The top teams from CUSA, all they've done is win games and cover point spreads in tournament after tournament after tournament here in the postseason. How do we step in front of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, anyone that stepped in front of San Diego State in this tournament's lost, number one. And also, though, like you talk about FAU, and I just think it's so similar to that, Alabama argument, right? That they've got this the better offense and they're going to be able to get it done. And we've just seen like that just not work. It didn't work when Bama was knocked out. And there's a couple other factors. Brian Dutcher is about as good a coach as there is in the country, as far as I'm concerned. And then acceptance and toughness, right? Everyone talked about like Houston. You'd hear like SVP and people saying like, oh, this is a grown man team. Well, I'm here to tell you, like, San Diego State is a grown man team. This is a tough squad that's going to get in your face. And that's how they're able to shut down these offenses. And it's not taking away anything from FAU, but they're probably not better than the Alabama team that tried to do the same thing. It's just the line's priced about right. But in the end, I think the Aztecs, who keep proving time and time again as well, much like Conference USA, that they can cover point spreads as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, and this line open 2, it's pretty much been 2 across the board all week. Very little movement on the point spread. And as far as the total, though, we have seen a little bit of a drop from 132.5 down to 131.5. And I believe it's either 12-1. I think it's 14-1 underrun. Joe Verneri mentioned that the other day on the college show for San Diego State. This is a team, of course, that played slow the last few years, played faster in the non-conference, and then really slowed it down more than normal in conference play. And not a coincidence they've been winning and covering spreads because they've been under the total in basically every one of those games as well. That game's at 6 o'clock Eastern. It's the first game on Saturday in the Final Four. All right, Jimmy Adams, you'll be back on the baseball show here with Bryan Leonard and Adam Trigger and Drew Martin at 2 o'clock Eastern in a couple hours. We're going to look at some futures plays. But while we have you here, I want to get one from you before the way out. What's something you're looking at in baseball this season?
Yeah, so one of my best, strongest opinions anyway is going to be the Giants under 81.5 wins. So we saw a 26 win decline from the Giants in 2021 to 2022, 107 to 81. I'm not seeing any signs at all that San Francisco's gotten better in the offseason. We'll get Teddy's take in a sec, but they play in an NL West division that's extremely top-heavy. Obviously, the Dodgers and Padres up top, 2 teams they had terrible records against last year. And then Arizona trending in the right direction as well. Many people like Arizona over their win total, including myself. The Giants just don't have that one guy in the lineup they've been able to build a team around and haven't for quite some time. Michael Conforto, probably their biggest action in the offseason, but he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. And we'll almost certainly see a decline in Jock Peterson, a WRC plus of 144. Like, give me a break. That's not going to continue. This team also strikes out way too much, 9th most in the league in 2022. Carlos Rodon gone from a pitching staff, and the defense was dead last in the league in several metrics. And just hard to watch at times. And that was when the shift was allowed. How bad are they going to be this season? Now they got to keep two guys on each side of the base. Lastly, I think we need to take into account that there's a good possibility the Giants are going to be sellers at the trade deadline. So Jock Peterson will almost certainly be gone. Brandon Crawford will probably be right there with him. And this really just isn't a very talented roster to begin with. Seeing the Giants get to 500 this year, I don't think so. Give me the Giants under 81.5 wins.
So you talked about it right at the end, where you said that buyers versus sellers at the trade deadline. And to me, when you're talking about teams in this win total range in particular, that's the keyest metric of all. You get a team that's lined 85, 90, 95 wins, even if they have a rough first half, and I'll talk about that with my big game breakdown, they're likely to be buyers at the trade deadline. And if a team's 70, 75, 65 wins, they're likely to be sellers. When you get a team that might be in the mix at the All-Star break, like San Francisco, a team that's lined around 500, I guess my question is this. How confident are you that San Francisco will end up being sellers at the trade deadline, not buyers? How confident are you that they'll be out of it at the halfway point? Because that's my biggest concern betting this one under.
So I'm pretty confident they'll be sellers because I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think their payroll's pretty high, and they've got some big contracts that they're going to need to get rid of, and they're nowhere near contending. There's a huge gap, obviously, between them and a team like the Dodgers or Padres. Just not enough talent on this team. They may be hanging around, but I think their GM's smart enough to know that they're going to have to rebuild and bring in some big names, or try to in the offseason. This is going to be, a few-year job. And so pretty confident they'll be sellers, and that'll lead me towards the under, Teddy.
Jimmy Adams, WagerTalk.com. Once again, Jimmy will be talking more MLB futures in depth at 2 o'clock Eastern today on Wednesday here on MLB First Pitch. You can also watch the replay anytime, day or night. And don't forget, yesterday we had the first futures show for baseball as well, which is archived right now here on the channel. Jimmy, you were a top 5 in MLB last season, up over 53 units of profit in 2022 alone in baseball. So you're looking for another huge season. Also 61% on 5% plays over your last 64. That's a good sample right there. What do you have planned for this week at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, so excited. Thanks for having me on, guys. So excited for baseball season. 66.7%, last 35%ers there. We're not wasting any time. I'm jumping right out of the gate with one on opening day, and it's our first Throwback Thursday. So you can get that play for just $17.50. All plays are going to be cut in half, not just mine. But we're going to have action, 2 to 3 MLB games up every single day from now until October. So very excited for that. You'll also get the occasional NBA play, but get an all-access baseball play. Grab that 5%er, and good luck to everyone out there. Let's have a season.
Jimmy Adams, WagerTalk.com. And yeah, Jimmy, thank you for mentioning Throwback Thursday starts tomorrow, Teddy. What a great time to start the half-price Thursday with the start of the baseball season as well. First time in history that 30 teams will be playing on opening day. And it's the first time since 1968 that every team is playing on opening day. And that's tomorrow on Thursday. Baseball 1 day away. And Teddy, speaking of baseball, we still got about 1 day to get those over-under season wins in for future bets, other season prop bets. But obviously over-under season wins probably the most popular prop bet as far as seasons go. And looking at these numbers yesterday, I did the baseball show here. We talked about it here on this show as well. Huge discrepancy between books. I mean, you're talking about a couple win difference. I mean, especially between the sharp square books, if you will, around the world, the ones that have been hit hard. A lot of metrics out there. I won't mention them all because they're somewhat under the radar still, but I think a lot of the sharps are using the same information, and definitely notice those teams are bet up or down a couple games, whereas some of the slower, more public books still are floating some, I guess, softer numbers. I mean, you definitely need to shop around more than ever.
We talk a lot about getting the best of the number. And it's important in every sport. It really is. There's not a sport where it's not important to get the best of the number. When you're talking about daily line variance, baseball's king. Okay. I'm looking at the WagerTalk Live odds screen right now. Just the first game for tomorrow, Atlanta versus Washington. If you want, you can lay minus 240 with Atlanta and take back plus 210, plus 212, plus 216, or you can take back plus 195, plus 200. And then that's your one game, one variance at one moment in time. This is a sport where you need to have multiple outs. If you have one book, open a second. If you have two books, open a third. If you have three books, open a fourth. The difference over the course of the season, again, it's a 162 game season. It'll go on for the next 6 months. Assuming you play 2, 3, 4 plays a day, you'll make hundreds and hundreds of bets in MLB. If you get 5 cents the worst of it, every bet all year, you better believe that's going to dig in to your profit or suck out more if you lose money. If you get 5 cents the better of it on every one of those 3, 4, 500 plays you're going to have over the next 6 months, it makes an enormous difference to your bottom line. So I talk about this all the time. Shop for lines, get the best of the number. This is a day. Opening day starts tomorrow. This is the day to actually do that. Go open another account today. Go open 2 more accounts today. Go open 5 more accounts today. You have $500. Don't put $500 into one account. Put 100 into 5. Get your outs ready. MLB line shopping makes all the difference. It really does in your bottom line. There's my 2 cents. Steve, agree?
Yeah, Teddy, it's ironic too because it's the one sport in which the spread does not matter, right? Every basketball and football game, we're talking about a half point here or there. It's pretty much minus 110. Back in the day, you used to be able to get minus 105 juice, which, by the way, just to put this in perspective, you got to win 52.4% to break even laying minus 110. If you lay minus 105 on every point spread, you need 51.2. It's half as much above 50-50. So, and that's just a 5-cent difference on point spread bets. Yet it's ironic that people think about it less in baseball because it doesn't matter if they're a 240 favorite as long as they win the game. It doesn't matter if they're a 320 favorite as long as they win the game. But it just grinds away at you, and it's more important than ever. Yet there's really no point spread involved. So it's so ironic. And I was talking futures because it's a great point about the regular games. Even the future odds, season win totals are a couple game difference. That's more of a point spread. But yeah, the money line, amateurs overlook it, and the professionals focus heavily on it.
Well, it's one of those deals like when you lose a game by a half point in football, you're like, you
feel it.
And you remember it. It sticks in your head.
Right.
When you lose an extra nickel, every bet that you lose in MLB or fail to gain an extra nickel, it's hidden. It's silent. You don't have that aha moment like you do when you lose a game by a half point that you could have pushed or won. It's like the silent killer. It's carbon monoxide poisoning. It's the moral equivalent there. You know what I mean? It just slowly sucks out a little bit every day, and it makes all that, by the end of the season, all those 5 cents and 10 cents and 15 cents that you didn't get or that you lost, they add up to 10, 20, 30, 50 units. Who knows how much they add up to, depending on how much you bet.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. If you're playing 2 games a day, 6 months of baseball, that's 360 games. Say you go 50-50, that's 180 wins, 180 losses. So if you're losing 5 cents on 180 losses, do the math right now, it's 9 units. Just 9 units on 5 cents. So if you're a dime player, it's $9,000. $100 player, it's almost $1,000. I mean, it adds up. It's a slow bleed is the term I was going to use. It's slowly a little a death by 1,000 cuts, right? But that's why people don't pay attention to it. But it's more important than ever. Slow bleed, death by 1,000 cuts. Good time to bring in Tony Finn. Those are analogies he's probably heard throughout his lifetime, both in Vegas and on WagerTalk.com. And Tony Finn, stay in the box. There you go. And we had Tony on the MLB Futures show yesterday, along with Eric Pauly, myself, and Drew Martin. And Tony, we're going to talk some more MLB in a moment. We've been going back and forth, basketball, baseball, but we haven't done any NBA yet. So I want to get an NBA game from you tonight. What's something you're looking at in the association for Wednesday?
Well, when I looked at this game yesterday afternoon, I knew that I needed to get a couple of matchups in position to talk about on this program, and I put it up. It was the Phoenix and Timberwolves, Phoenix Suns, Minnesota Timberwolves matchup tonight, and the number. I thought this number was a tad bit low under the circumstances, 232. And then, of course, I hadn't really paid attention because I'd already got my position in the game. And I noticed that it had climbed already 3 points, which really made a little more sense. I expected it to climb. I didn't expect it to climb that quickly because it was early. It was early this morning. It actually climbed yesterday afternoon. And for lots of reasons in this game, and we could spend a lot of time on this because I took a position on this, Steve, a little early with some speculation, with some intel, and some guys I trust who said this is likely to happen tomorrow, and thinking that if it does go up and I find something else out, as many as you and our genius Teddy just outlined the importance of shopping and getting the best number, the line, handicap, whatever you want to call it. In this situation, I thought that it was going to go up, and if something happened that I didn't like as far as the IL designations, injury list designations, or somebody's bowed out or they're going to arrest someone, that I could get off of it without having a Russian middle or a Teddy middle. So in this situation, I believe that you're probably going to see Edwards. He's a questionable. He's got a questionable designation. Towns looks like he's going to play. He's still got a game time decision designation, and of course, this was the date and time that we expected to see KD back in the Suns lineup, Kevin Durant. And if there's one thing about Kevin Durant, he has plenty of experience coming off the IL, as you both know. And when he does come off the IL, they always say, his minutes may be restricted. His minutes is never restricted. He is all in, all out. He keeps himself in good shape. And in this situation, especially with Towns in the lineup, if he's going to get the minutes, we'll see about that. He might be the one that's restricted. He's been out for about 5 years now. So the Suns are healthy. Other than that, I expect this game to be the Suns and who they've been now since they traded away their depth, their whole entire bench for Kevin Durant, and that is up and down with very little defense. That's what I like tonight. The over in the Suns Minnesota Timberwolves NBA feature attraction, and I think the number right now is about 235, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I want to ask you this, because my thought process here is that Phoenix just had 2 additions that initially make me want to play under for Phoenix games. DeAndre Ayton is an under player, okay? They just got him back. Ayton is okay on offense. He's elite on defense, a great rim protector. And the Suns' defense is a heck of a lot better with him in the lineup than without. And whenever you have a new star player getting his first playing time on in real game action against a real opponent, as opposed to in practice, you expect some transition period where the offense isn't going to click on all cylinders, and you would expect maybe. So given those 2 factors for Phoenix, Ayton back, some concern about the offensive flow with Durant on the floor, why do you still like this one over, even after the lines move?
Well, I thought this is where the number should be initially, Teddy, first off, okay? When I saw the 232, and am I correct? Is it, I don't have that screen up. I apologize. I don't have my live screen odds up. But is it 235?
Yeah, now? So we saw DK open low. It opened low offshore, and it opened 235 at Westgate, 234.5 at South Point, 234.5 at Circa. So it hasn't been a huge move today. The action was mostly
it was yesterday. You're right. I saw it, like I said, it was early this morning, so it had to be an overnight, or at least it had to be in the afternoon, because you're not going to see a lot of but I looked across the board. How come I still like it? I like it because for 2 reasons. One, while Ayton is as you outlined him and painted him, Townsend, Prince, all these guys spread the floor for Minnesota, especially Towns. He's not going to get in the paint and try to muscle up with Ayton, which he could probably do. He's healthy anyway, because it's not like Ayton is a brick wall or anything, but he is a good rim protector. And his job really is to protect the rim and get rebounds, and put up his 15, 18, whatever he's going to score. He's going to have to get out of it. He has to get out of it. Someone has to get on Towns. If there's one thing Towns has done for 5 months, Teddy, it hasn't run as much, but it's been taking 20-foot jump shots all day long. And somebody's going to have to get out on him. So I really like the pace in this game. I like the fact that not that I like the fact I like the fact that the number was below what I thought it would be, and the fact is that since KD came along and since they traded away the bench, the bridges, the defensive players of Phoenix, this team has been abysmal at getting stops.
In this game, once again, as Tony said, opened briefly around 231.5 yesterday afternoon, a couple of the leading indicator international books, and then by late afternoon, early evening, it was up to that 234 range, up to 235. Now it's the late game, 10 Eastern tonight on ESPN National TV. All right, Tony, you were on the baseball show yesterday with me. Great content, by the way. If you missed Tuesday's show, go back and watch it. It's archived here. We give out several futures plays for the full season. And then, of course, it'll be on again today at 2 o'clock, another episode, 2 o'clock Eastern for Wednesday. Tony, but on the way out, though, I want to get a baseball thought from you, something maybe the viewers can take advantage of this season.
Well, I'm going to give you two thoughts. First off, I believe wholeheartely that as much fun as this season is going to be, and it's going to be fun, especially early on with all these rule changes, with Showalter knowing he's the smartest guy in the room, on the field, inside the diamond, having studied these new rules, with Verlander already kind of testing the waters in spring. They're going to get around some of this stuff, but for the most part, I liked a lot of futures. I think this is kind of a messy situation for MLB. They put these rules in to speed up the game with pitchers' clocks. However, all the rules they've put in, every single new rule is to make the game more exciting, faster, more runs. It's not going to make more runs equal longer games typically, and it doesn't make the game faster, right? I don't care about it being fast. The one thing I loved about baseball, it didn't have a time clock. It's a chess match that I could get a cold one.
Tony,
yeah.
What game are you talking about? Pick a game and talk about the game.
Okay. All right. I wanted to kind of breathe it in, but the game we're talking about is the Mets. I'm sorry. We're talking about the ex-Mets pitcher, the Rangers and the Philadelphia Phillies. DeGrom leading off, or at least leading off in his pitching debut for the Rangers. And I'm high on the Rangers overall. I'm especially high on the Rangers against a Phillies team that isn't really right. No Harper, Hoskins out for the season. They're going to put some young kids in there, and for the most part, these kids may have played under some of these rules, but it's going to be a messy. And I trust DeGrom to be very efficient, pick the ball up, throw the ball, and I expect Nola to be who Nola is early in the season, and that is giving up some long fly balls. I like the Rangers, and yesterday I got them $1.25. I see they've already declined about 10 cents. The Rangers over and DeGrom over Nola, and the Phillies tomorrow afternoon at Globe Life.
Do you think that Texas has the bullpen advantage over Philadelphia with most of these games, even on opening day? We're expecting the bullpens to be the difference, not the starters, correct?
Well, I expect that DeGrom will shut the Phillies down and Texas will get to Nola, and the bullpen will maintain that 3 or 4 run lead they have going into the 6th innings, which I don't expect to see DeGrom much more than 90 pitches tomorrow. But yeah, I like the improvement of this Texas team. I expect this team to be much better than they were last year, especially with the guys like Seager and such who don't have to hit that shift, and they've lost a lot of hits over the last couple of years into this shift.
As Tony said, the rule changes definitely trying to increase scoring, I think, this season. Yet we still have 3 games with the 6.5 tomorrow on opening day, and every game is 9 or less. In fact, I think only 1 game is above 8.5. Of course, we have a lot of aces on the mound because it is opening day. That's part of it. But we'll see. The adjustment doesn't look like it's quite been made yet for what should be maybe some higher scoring games this baseball season. Tony Finn is the #1 baseball capper at WagerTalk, not only last year in 2022, but for the last 9 years combined. Tony, what do you got going on at WagerTalk this week?
I'll have my plays up for tomorrow. I have not posted. I'm just giving that away already. I will have the Rangers and DeGrom tomorrow. I spend a lot of time on my futures. Now, my futures report has 28 recommended futures. 28. Those are team players, awards, et cetera, et cetera. And you don't have to play them all, but I give you a detailed analysis on each one and give you some options, maybe some new ideas, maybe if I've changed your mind. But you can get that report only one place, WagerTalk.com.
28 recommendations for futures. What a value. And that's Tony
28.
Finn, WagerTalk.com. And we'll be right back with a little bit more baseball talk from Teddy Covers. We haven't talked the Dodgers, who I think have been the best team in baseball for several years, yet they have not won the World Series for a couple years. We'll see, Teddy, if they are a play on or play against team this year in the MLB season. 30-second big game breakdown, MLB style, Teddy Covers.
If you love $9 Monday and $2 Tuesday, you're really going to appreciate our new Throwback Thursday when all daily packages are slashed in half. Yes, you heard right at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. All Thursday daily packages are now 50% off. This means that a 4% package will be only $12.50. A 5% top-rated play, normally priced at $35, will be only $17.50. And the hottest sales item of the day, get a full day of access from the handicappers of your choice. That's one day of every applicable play they release, including any 5% best bets, normally priced at $39, for only $19.50. The best part is you can come back every Thursday to take advantage of this limited time 50% off spring off.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk an MLB win total for today on Wednesday, the day before opening day. And really, you want to get down on win totals, today's probably the best day to do it if you haven't done so already. I want to talk about the LA Dodgers over on, let's call it 95.5 wins. There is some variance on the Dodgers total. If you shop around, you can get a better number than that. But 95.5, the current number. And it feels like people are just bored with the Dodgers. Oh, yeah, they're going down. Oh, look at all what they lost last year. They lost Trey Turner and Justin Turner and Cody Bellinger. They lost Craig Kimball and Joey Gallo and Trevor Bauer and Andrew Heaney. I don't care who the Dodgers lost. When you look at their 25-man roster, okay, the Dodgers can compete with anyone in MLB. When you look at their pitching staff, the Dodgers go, what, 8, 9 starters deep? They can withstand injuries. You look at their bullpen, that's the best bullpen in baseball. It's not close in my mind. The Dodgers pitching is loaded and deep. They're going to score runs. They're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. If they're 3 games under 500, they're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. This team's won the NL West, again, 9 times in the last 10 years. They're not going anywhere. Their payroll isn't, they're not going from being a contender to, oh, we got to cut payroll. No, the Dodgers will be just fine. We heard earlier on the show, an opinion against the San Francisco Giants. I don't disagree with that. I don't like Colorado. And let's not forget, they're going to get all the extra games against the NL Central this year. Dodgers over their win total. Makes a whole lot of sense to this bettor. I think it's cheap. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Right, and we talked about all the rule changes this season that should help increase scoring for the most part. But another change this season, which is very, very important this season, is the balanced schedule. More so, that first time in history, every baseball team will play every baseball team, both National League and American League, and that means, more importantly, Teddy, as you know, less divisional games, less couple sets against every team, basically, and in a very stacked division like the NL West, that should help the Dodgers, win even more games.
One of the things that I didn't even talk about in that is a factor in me liking the Dodgers this year. The Dodgers have more money to spend on every part of the organization than anybody else. Their scouting is deeper and better than anyone else. So you're playing all these other games against other teams that you don't see as much. Dodger scouting is going to be better than their opponent's scouting. All right. The Dodgers, many teams, when they're going to trade prospects for players who can help them right now. The Dodgers farm system is loaded with prospects that can come in and help right now. They don't have to trade everyone away and then have no one in the farm system. They don't have to, it's not a situation where LA is going to face the type of adversity that organizations with a less bankroll have to face. That team is loaded and the organization is successful. I think they win 96 games or more.
Yeah, and this is a team that won 111 games last year. You say, oh, they're due to regress, right? Well, first of all, their expected win-loss record plus 334 net runs was 116 wins. they were just 6-9 in extra inning games, and they were only 16-15 in one-run games, and they still won 111 games. So that's how good this Dodger team was. They were actually better than their record last year, and they haven't won the World Series back-to-back seasons, so they should be hungry as well. The Nick Saban Alabama factor, Teddy, I call that one handicapping a futures bet. All right, great baseball talk today on the show. Once again, the MLB Futures Show continues at 2 o'clock Eastern today on Wednesday, opening day tomorrow on Thursday. Bryan Leonard will be on the baseball show in about an hour and a half. So I want to talk some NBA while we have Bryan Leonard on today's show, because he will not be on the NBA show. Teddy Covers will be, along with Ski Profit and Jay Money at 4:15 Eastern. But Bryan, you're great in baseball, but you're great in the NBA as well. What's something you're looking at tonight in the Milwaukee-Indiana game? Milwaukee Bucks, best record in the NBA, a few weeks away from the playoffs. How are you attacking this team now? They're at Indiana tonight.
First of all, I wanted to point out that when Tony was on the show and he was moving back and forth, and Tony's a great baseball handicapper, you had said, get back in the box, referring to him moving like this.
Correct. It was a balk.
But we were talking baseball. Get back in the box. He got a strike against him. Tony's got a strike against him. He didn't get back in the box.
Well, he has 8 seconds, Bryan. You got to be back in at the 8-second mark, apparently. But I think a better analogy would be that he was balking every single time.
There you go. Talking about the NBA, I love this game here. Milwaukee's playing Indiana. And if you take a look at how these two teams have played so far this year, they combined for scores of 251, 272, and 262 points in their 3 earlier meetings. Indiana at home, and I've been watching this, I used the same thing with Sacramento early in the season, but Indiana at home, as of late, their home games have come up with 231, 262, 259, 290, and 280 points. This is a team when they're playing at home. They like to run. Milwaukee likes to run. But I'm going to take a look at the first half here, because Milwaukee's got to play Boston coming up, and those are the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. So that's a big thing. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Milwaukee gets a big lead here and pulls players the second half of the game. I'm going to play the first half of this game over 117. I think this is by far the best bet on the NBA card for today, and I've bet it myself, and I expect this line to go up.
So the Pacers won't have Halliburton tonight. They won't have Buddy Hield tonight. They may not have Miles Turner tonight, which I think works in your favor. But when you're talking about a team playing without their starting backcourt, last time out when they played Dallas, boy, that offense looked way out of sync. That game stayed under the total, and Indiana only scored 104 points. They played Boston last week and stayed well on 20 points under the total, only scored 95 in that one. We've seen some offensive concerns from the Pacers of late, especially when Halliburton isn't playing. And the Bucks certainly haven't forgotten when Indiana went and scored 139 on them, less than 2 weeks ago in Milwaukee and blew them out as 12-point underdogs. Are you worried at all about the Pacers' injuries, about their current offensive form, or the fact that Milwaukee probably not going to look past Indiana, which may result in fewer Pacers points being scored here?
I'm not sure they don't overlook them here. And I agree with you. I had Indiana against Dallas the other day, and I thought that was a bargain on the over as a free play, and they came up a 3-pointer short. But as the game went on, there was a lot more points scored. Indiana couldn't hit a 3-pointer to save their lives in that game. I expect a better outcome today. I just don't think Milwaukee is overly concerned about this game with the big game tomorrow. And, at this time of the season, everybody's trying to pad their stats. And they're doing that against weak opposition, and that's Indiana as of late. So I'll play this over, but you made some good points, Teddy.
Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com. We're talking some NBA. Bryan will be back on the MLB Futures Show once again at 2 o'clock Eastern today. And Bryan, a team that's very interesting to me is the Lakers. Watching the game last week, they were getting calls left and right. It's almost like the league wants them in the postseason, which would not be a surprise. So I think that's a compelling reason to look to play on the Lakers whenever possible. What are your thoughts tonight at Chicago?
Yeah, that was part of my thinking, and you're getting close to a pick'em game here with a 2. So based on what's happened, I'm not making any accusations or anything, but we have seen this before. We've seen this before with the Sacramento Kings back in the day, not beating nobody wants Sacramento to go in the small town, but which is why I root for them this year. But the Lakers still fighting to get into this playoff tournament. They're looking off of a home loss revenge from the Bulls on Sunday. They played pretty well at home before that game, and they just didn't play well in that one. They have a nice advantage here from a rest advantage. 2 days off here, where this is the first game back home from the Bulls after 3 games on the West Coast. It's your third game in 4 days for the host. And with recent revenge, and as we spoke about, maybe the refs might have something to do with this game and the next scheduling play. I like the Lakers. It's not nearly as strong as I like the first game we talked about, but that's the way I would look in this one, is the Lakers minus the 2 at Chicago.
So here's my question for the conspiracy theorists of the world. Because, you're like, of course the league wants the Lakers. Of course the league wants the Lakers. Then you look at the last 8 games. They lose by 4 to the Knicks. Didn't get the calls down the stretch of that one. Lose by 4 to the Rockets. Didn't get the calls down the stretch of that one. They lose by 1 to Dallas in a game where the rest would have given them an extra free throw. Maybe it makes all the difference. And they lose last time out in this, as you mentioned, short revenge turnaround spot against Chicago, in which even in that game, they shot the ball well. They shot better than 50% from the floor in that ball game, but couldn't get stops. So if the Lakers are getting these calls, how are they losing games to Dallas and Houston and as favorites in Chicago? Shouldn't they be winning those games even if they don't cover?
Maybe they're not as good is what a lot of people think. So, and I agree with you on that regard. The Lakers have not impressed me at all this year, but Chicago, for the most part, has been that way. They've looked good in certain spots, other times not. Chicago's pretty much in the position in the playoffs where they want to be. They can't move up, and they really can't move down. I guess they can move. There's only 7-8 games left in the season, but the chances of that are pretty remote. So the excitement for the game and the team that needs to come out and play better are the Lakers. We're still fighting to just get in the playoffs. I think that's enough to put them in the win column here.
Yeah, in the current playoff standings, the Lakers in the 9th spot, half a game ahead of the Thunder and the Mavericks for 10-11. So it's going to come down to the wire. I believe they have 7 games left, too. So it's pretty early. The game I was referencing, guys, was actually a week ago last Thursday. And Scott Foster, or last Wednesday, Scott Foster was the referee. So as you know, Teddy, it might be depending on which officials out there as well. I think they had 46 free throw attempts in that game with Scott Foster. So that's something to keep an eye on the officials as well. And another reason to tune into NBA Tip-Off, 4:15 Eastern. Maybe Teddy Ski or Jay Money will talk about who the officials are for tonight's games. Brian, great stuff. You'll be back on the baseball show once again in about an hour. Some MLB futures talk. I know you love baseball. What you got going on at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, right now we've got a nice special going. They made for us a full week of service, 7 full days, only $69. And the code to get that is PITCH, as in baseball, PITCH. 7 days of all of our plays. Baseball season does start tomorrow. And I do have 5% going in hockey on today's card. 37 and 18 are 6-year history on NHL. 5% plays, and we won 13 straight overall. So I really like this game. If you're going to pay the $35 to get just one play, get the next 7 days for the $69. It's a terrific deal that Melissa in the office in Detroit put out for us, and I really appreciate it. And it's a good money-saving advantage. And as you talked about, tomorrow baseball season starts, and it's the Throwback Thursday. So a lot of big advantages coming up at Wager Talk if you're looking to save some money.
Yeah, we didn't get to any NHL today, but maybe a 13 straight 5% winning record, 13-0 runs, a good reason to go get some NHL tonight from Bryan Leonard at WagerTalk.com. So great having Bryan on. Best of luck tonight on that big play in hockey. And Teddy, great show. A lot of baseball, a lot of basketball. Bryan's got the huge 5%er in the hockey. And we'll do it again tomorrow on Thursday. A quick reminder, I've won 6 straight basketball plays, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, on a nice run. And we continue tonight on Wednesday with some basketball best bets. I've also got baseball lined up for this week. Also some videos here on Wager Talk. I'm going to do a MLB futures video right after this with the new rule changes, which teams it might benefit. I also have a Fade the Public Sweet Final Four, Sweet 16, Final Four video later this week here. So hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this baseball season. And Teddy, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, right here on Wager Talk TV, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. If you like this show, please tell your friends. Give us a like, give us a follow, ding the bell so you get a notice every time we go live. Enjoy the games tonight. Best of luck with all your wagers.
If you love $9 Monday and $2 Tuesday, you're really going to appreciate our new Throwback Thursday when all daily packages are slashed in half. Yes, you heard right. At both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, all Thursday daily packages are now 50% off. This means that a 4% package will be only $12.50. A 5% top-rated play, normally priced at $35, will be only $17.50. And the hottest sales item of the day, get a full day of access from the handicappers of your choice. That's one day of every applicable play they release, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $39 for only $19.50. The best part is you can come back every Thursday to take advantage of this limited time 50% off spring off.